How you doing, Internet? Before we actually take a look at the winning Fumina, I think it would be appropriate to take a benchmark and take a look at the Super Fumina through my high-grade custom build Star Wish. This would be the B-Nuts version. In other words, what I did when I got my hands on it. And I do believe that different people had different reasons for getting their hands on it, whether it was just to review the Super Fumina or to see how far they had to take it before it became serviceable. This isn't my favorite custom. My favorite would be the one based on Ruby Rose from Ruby. Stand comes with the normal adapter for this type of stand that we first I think we first saw it with the G-Portant, and it plugs into the backpack up there as opposed to in the crotch in your standard gunpla, as this is obviously not your standard gunpla. It also comes with a special adapter which is much taller, so that reaches much further as well. Not that this is a traditional gunpla anyway, and that is pretty much as close as I'm going to get to rebuilding the Super Fumina. Other than the paint job, I've nixed the lenses that are supposed to go over the eyes. I have replaced the included Gatling with the ones from the Powered Arm Powereder. So I did try to cut the peg to meet the arm more directly, but it didn't quite work out that way, so I ended up cementing mostly just the ends. Her articulation, first for the body, her head can go down this far. Up would be interrupted by her ponytail, but that can rotate all the way around. So that gives her a little bit more range. And that ball joint can pop out really easily. And it goes up that far, tilting side to side, or rotating around if you can do all that. And then there's also ball joints at the bottom of the neck so that she can do the robot chicken. Her maid headdress is made out of the same softer material as her skirt, and of course her uniform skirt is also white, so that fits the arm. Can go up very far due to that kind of weird joint, but since it can go that far, I'm not going to complain. And go forward that far by that joint, backward not really that far, but still pretty good. And considering it's supposed to approximate a human joint more than any other gunpla, I think it still does a pretty good job. And then comes back that way. When it's that close, you only have the backpack to worry about as it interrupts that, but otherwise it could go all the way around even when it's that close to the body. And then because it's a ball joint in there too, it can still rotate all the way around that way. Plus rotation here can go that far. Wrists are kind of interesting in that on the hand you just have a short peg, and then the polycap ball joint here is inside the sleeve. At the waist, turn this all the way around. Forward and backward bend is slight. And of course at the legs, go like that, far forward, equally far back, and far to the side, all of course without the skirting armor that would go underneath this part. I did chop off the pieces the slots that they would have connected to, because when I'm not using the armor pieces, I don't need them. And you can see from this how that would look. Then you have a cut here, just at the skin. You might think that there'd be a cut here at the thigh high as well, but there's not. Then the knee joint, which is pretty good. And as you saw earlier, it can also go somewhat backwards, as though you would need to. At the ankle, as I said before, it's a bit interesting because the peg up here is straight, but when it goes into the shoe itself, it's at an angle. So that was all the way around, this is all the way up, all the way down, and tilting side to side. You have all these hinges and places where they can rotate to the point where it's really hard to tell where things started. So you can rotate the guns around pretty much in any direction you want. And have her firing out any which way. Then you have arms for the shield, and they also have some pretty good rotation and hinges there and there and there, 3 points. Whereas this one only had 2, this one is 2, this one is 3 different places. So of course the shields have more articulation, but they also need more reach because they're not projectile weapons. They need to be able to cover various places, which is also why I put in the extra joint. Probably one of these. No, I can't really track what it is. But in any case, she can reach the ground that way, all the way in the back, and cover herself in the front pretty well. And even though these shields are pretty small scale for her, because she's so much larger than a normal high grade, they do cover her well. Partly though because of the beams that go in. So articulation on this thing is pretty good. So you wanted to compare that to the powered arms, which I have here. Ta-da! So they also come with an adapter. This is to get from the 2 to the 1 base. And as you can see, the backpack itself is fairly thick, but it also has some extra joints in here. About the same number of joints in these ones for the back cannons, but these ones have extra that were used. They also, as I showed before, come in this kit attached there. And then she has these instead. Different arms, different experience. It fits into her back too. All you have to do is pull off one of those. I think this one is a missile. As I said before, it came with the Powered Arms Powereder. There we go. Without anything on her back. Beams are, so they can be taken off and mounted on. 2 open palms, 1 trigger figure hand, and 2 standard holding hands with square holes in them, 2 beam saber handles, which are mounted here to her shoulders. This tiny little peg here is small enough to fit into the part for these beam sabers. If my hands would stop shaking. A little SMG as well. fits into one hand. It has a movable secondary handle. But it's such a little weapon, and she has so few of them that it's hard to take her seriously. So how about a 3 high grade comparison? On your right, we have the Arios, which should be about 19 meters tall, I think. And on the left we have is the Rhapsody, but it is based on the Crossbone. And Crossbone being about 15 meters tall. So the difference in height is quite evident simply between Arios and something based on the Crossbone. And then you throw Fumina into the mix, and things just start getting ridiculous. There is one other flaw that really freaked me out while building this, her waist section, which is sickeningly thin. So if you tried to put her together without using the skirt piece, which was tempting at a certain time, you end up with this. And this just isn't human. So that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if not, at least found it informative. If you did, you can leave a like, comment below what you thought. You can subscribe to show your support for my channel, and even visit my Patreon. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, part 2, which will focus on the Star Wish. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.